Yeah, I mean, it's that time in the cycle really that the accumulation does come in, right? Like people buy, they put a floor on the price, the volatility drops, and we saw that in, when was it? Was it 2018? 2018 bottom, 2015 bottom. We even saw it in the 2012 bottom. So yeah, sure. People are holding the price up. That's because they want Bitcoin. What was really interesting with the BlockFi bankruptcy, we saw a sort of pullback. It 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 wicked down beforehand. I kind of think that was sort of inside sellers knowing that that announcement would happen. It wicked down, what is it? $500, something like
Nothing.
that, and got
Yeah.
quickly absorbed. And then now we're breaking to the upside. So I think we've got a lot of buyers at this price. Certainly, the indicators I have are showing. When you see a lot of coins moving and the price going sideways, that's a sure sign of accumulation. And so that's been happening. I'm tracking it. That's the reason why it's going sideways. Yeah. So that max pain is like what those are contours of where the price has to hit till how much of the coin supply is underwater from their buy price, and so that is, I believe that's roughly 58% to 60% of the coins being underwater. And so that's where you get that band. Within that 2% band has been where it's hit in all the bottoms that we've had in the last few cycles. So I'm just tracking that as a target, right? And that's climbed. I think it's, you can think of this as like a volume profile for the traders out there. Where you get dense lines, that's where a lot of coins have last traded at that value, right? So it's kind of like a volume profile, but it's a profile of how many coins traded at that price out of the whole Bitcoin supply. And I cropped it off at down to here, which is like there's another 28% of the coins that traded below that price here. So effectively, I'm looking at there's a particular contour that hits all of these price bottoms, right? And that's the contour of how much of the supply is underwater. Obviously, if you buy here, as the price goes under, you're part of the losing squad until it hits a point where it doesn't go any further. That's your max pain. And this is a charting as we go through 100% of people in profit at the 70,000 top, and as the price starts trading down, we cut through all these contours, and now we're currently at about 45% of the supply is underwater. And actually, what I was saying is you can draw this trend line. Actually, I can't draw on this chart, but you can draw a trend line here. And when you get this sort of change in movement where the supply starts to climb and not experience so much pain, that's usually happens in this accumulation belt, right in that zone there. So it's before the breakout, and it's been reliable with past cycles here. And you get the breakout. I think if you draw it to here, that's the breakout. It's the middle of the accumulation zone. And actually, we were forming a really nice trend line here. I remember monitoring this at this point. It hit at this point, it hit there, and then it snuck out. And it stuck out right at that zone here, and it was ready to start to, put in a floor. And then we had the unwind from FTX. So this now looks like a bump and run pattern where we break out of the trend, and then we're now retesting the trend line. My opinion that this will test well and go upwards. And here we go. Let's draw that chart. So what I've done here is actually now also account for the grayscale coins, which is, I think it's about 3-4% of the Bitcoin supply, maybe even more, 4.5%.
Yeah.
Something crazy. 630,000 Bitcoin in there.
Yeah.
And then if you look at what's happening inside there, roughly 60%, assuming 60% of the coins are underwater. I did a survey, and you kind of can account for what's happening in that black box, which won't be shown on chain. The green sort of corrects for that. And so that is currently today at $13,000 and climbing quite quickly. You can, if we zoom in to this zone here, you can see that that's climbing up quite quickly. So we're getting quite close to a touch. Doesn't have to touch every time. We didn't touch there. Yeah.
Is that what it would take to push this below 12, 10, something like that? I mean, what is there a number that would surprise you at the bottom? Because clearly you've shown some indicators here, that say price could easily go to 10 or 12. So clearly I don't think 10 or 12 would shock you at this point, right?
Yeah, I don't think like 12 wouldn't shock me. 10, I think everyone's wanting, and so it usually doesn't hit what everyone wants. Yeah. 12 wouldn't shock me. 12, 13, I think. But I don't think, if you think about that, it may run away from here. It may drop even further. These are very broad stroked indicators, but it's probably not a bad time to dollar cost in. If Binance collapses, yeah, well, that's a nuclear winter, right? Holy shit. You get FTX.
But I would have said that about FTX, right? If FTX collapses, nuclear winter, and here we are 1,000 below that range we were talking about. It's really not as bad as it seems.
I mean, I trade on FTX, right? It's where I like to trade. That I gotta hand it to SBF is that, like, okay, he stole a lot of money that wasn't his. But the exchange itself, he built a good product.
Well, I think, right. I mean, that's the problem, is that he built a good enough product to get everyone on there right before stealing their funds and collapsing it. So it's kind of the worst case scenario, that combination.
Just got greedy. He just got very greedy. I mean, if he'd stayed in the long run and didn't do the greedy stuff, I mean, he would have the best exchange out there to use. Can you see my screen?
I can. I'll add you right now.
Okay, let's go to exchange balance, right? And here we go. So these are all the coins on exchanges. Everyone's getting the coins off the exchanges right now. Let's zoom into FTX. This is Bitcoin only right now. You have to go onto CryptoQuant, I think, to get the stable coins. So this is the run on the bank here, right? This is like everyone getting the fuck out, right? But you'll notice that there was also this trend down, and also what the hell happened here, right? I saw this and I thought, is this an error in FTX labeling on Glassnode or something? It just didn't make sense. They'd been building up this stockpile of Bitcoin, as they won more and more trust. This is all of our customer funds on that exchange. And then suddenly, as Three Arrows collapses, 55,000 of their 130,000 Bitcoins got withdrawn. Right. And I think SBF said, we're doing a bit of cold storage movement here, nothing to be worried about. No one called them out on it. I thought it was maybe this move to a new labels that were still FTF. You see this sometimes, as you see.
Right, moving from one exchange wallet to another, and nobody knows the new wallet. Right.
Yeah, right. But Glassnode didn't pick that up, right? They maintained that it went out of the exchange. So no one actually called it out. And after that point, so what happened there, right? Is like, did Alameda need to plug a hole in their books after 3AC collapse? But after that, look at this. This is like a constant trend downward with Bitcoin reserves. Like the guys that knew that FTX was not good, and there was a constant withdrawal. So as the FUD was happening on Twitter, I was taking a look at this chart, and I'm like, going, this does not look good. I'm like, I think I got all of my stuff out of all my Bitcoins out of FTX. When they had like 6,400 Bitcoins left, like down in this region here. So anyway, that was that.